I'm quite familiar with this installation when it was made, and it was the standards were very adequate.
What do you think could have caused it then?
To me, there had to be one or two things. A direct lightning hit could have caused it. And this front, however, I think, I wasn't in the area at the time, but I have seen lightning hit a tower and cause a fire like this. Or other than that, it had to be some liquid that was very volatile.
You mean arson?
It could possibly. Anything's possible. I would say either that or lightning. Now, when lightning hits a tower, it can do a tremendous, on a direct hit, it can more or less cause an explosion. So I think it's one of the two.
But I can tell you that if unemployment continues its rise and is not checked, and inflation, and there's not some equity brought about in the national tax structure, and we don't stop this subversive element who are out to destroy the very fabric of our society and even our own lives, then I don't see why it might not be necessary for those like you and I to again go out and speak in Dallas and San Diego and Manchester and to speak in Boston.
The fire did its work in about 10 minutes, just after 8 o'clock this morning. Destroyed was a minimum of $80,000 worth of equipment. 3 transmitters belonging to KDNT were lost, also a civil defense transmitter. Arson has been mentioned as a possible cause of the blaze. The consulting engineer of KDNT, George Marty, said the blaze could not have been caused by the equipment.
I say it's unlikely. In the past 35 years, I've never seen exactly the same thing happen. I've seen fires in transmitter buildings, but they were normally contained to within the rack of equipment to where they started. And in my opinion, I don't think it was a internally generated fire. I think it had some outside help.
Fire department officials probing the scene of the fire south of Denton have not pinpointed the cause of the fire, as told by Denton Fire Marshal Joe Irwin.
Well, it's too early to tell, really. There's no indication of arson. There's no indication of electrical wiring, but that does not say that neither of the two caused the fire. It's just too early to tell. It'll take a lot of looking at.
How long do you think the investigation will take before you know what happened?
Hopefully by tomorrow afternoon we'll have an idea, at least, about what we think happened.
The civil defense building adjacent to the fire was not harmed, and whatever caused the blaze, the rains that are drenching the area now came about 3 hours too late to possibly save part of the building. Since the blaze involved government property, the FBI will probably be called in for an investigation. Meanwhile, KDNT will hopefully be back on the air by Tuesday. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move, south of Denton.
What can be done to stop this Holocaust? I served 42 months in the South Pacific and willingly risked my life because I was convinced that I was making the world safe for my children. Thank you, Governor Wallace, for listening to me, and I hope and pray you and your party can gain the power needed to bring this horror to an end. And here's a letter from Charles A. Nichols of Corpus Christi, Texas. Enclosed is my $100 check for the Wallace campaign to continue. This is a must at all costs, because where else do people like myself look to outside of Jesus Christ for truthful answers but Governor Wallace? Folks, if you'll pick up your envelope, this envelope, and just look at it, don't need to wave it in the air yet, and open it up and let's look inside it. First of all, you'll find a little card that will enable you folks to receive the Wallace Stand. Receive it each month. And also a personal letter from Governor Wallace each month. We'd like for you to fill it out if you'd like to receive it. And also you can enclose your own personal check if you'd like to help us continue to organize our capability and our vote-getting potential.
Jack, where were you when you heard that McGee had finished at 4 under?
Well, I think I was going down the 12th fairway, and I heard some clapping at 18. I knew Jerry was playing 18, so I assumed he'd hold a short putt or something and tapped in for a par. I really don't know what he did, but I knew he'd played a good round, and I knew that from that point I had to make 2 birdies to win the tournament.
By then, your putts were beginning to fall for you, though, weren't they?
Well, not quite yet, but I'd been close all day, and then finally at 15 I got the first good putt of the day, about a 20-footer that was down the hill, and of course then I followed it right up at 16 and 17.
Well, this makes you feel good, winning the Byron Nelson 2 years in a row, doesn't it?
Oh, sure does. You know, Byron's a great credit to the game, and I feel very proud to have my name on the same trophy that bears his name, and of course playing here on a great golf course like Preston Trails, and it's, you know, it makes you feel awful good.
What are your plans for the next 3 weeks?
My plans are to go home and relax a little bit and play baseball coach, father, and spend a little time in the office, maybe get a little fishing in, and you know, get reacquainted with the troops at home.
The card says, wishing you a perfect Mother's Day. Now, weather-wise, this isn't exactly the most perfect Mother's Day with rainy, black skies outside. But on the inside, here at the Howard Reed household, it's very nice and very warm.
For years, we have relied upon the economic index formula that was devised some years ago to try to equalize the contributions from local school districts to the school foundation program. Now, this program provides the necessary revenues for each school district throughout this state to contribute their fair share of the money that it takes to run the local school districts. But what has happened, the program called the Economic Index Formula was instituted, which gives the state of Texas a responsibility for approximately 80% of the funding of the school foundation program. The other 20% was allocated to the local school districts to provide their portion of the 100% financing for school purposes.
Well, this is a matter of semantics. It's stated here that we're eliminating one position. We're retitling the position, and we're reorienting it. Rather than attempting to get a person whose background is in police work, or whose background is in firework or civil defense or what have you, we are attempting to get a person who has background and experience and training, education in management, because I consider these to be top-level management jobs. I feel like a management-oriented and a management-trained person can be of great assistance to the fire chief and the police chief and the civil defense director.
Jerry, I thought maybe I'd get that question asked. I don't really know how to answer that. We don't like to be called rabbits. I don't think there's any player that tees it up out here that looks like a rabbit. I don't see any guys grabbing lettuce out of their bag or carrots out of their bag. We're human beings, athletes out here trying to make money, and we're not all superstars. But how is a guy going to be known if, his name isn't put in the paper once in a while instead of being classified as this rabbit, as they call it, which is all the younger players think it's bad, and I'm agreeing with them 100%. I guess maybe I'm the first one that's ever asked in the press room why they did call us rabbits. Maybe the guys in there are a little hot at me right now, I don't know, but I didn't intend it to be derogatory or anything like that. I just asked a question, and I still haven't received an answer, but we don't like the term rabbits.
It's imperative, from the point of view of maintaining the size military establishment that we've had ever since Korea, that the draft be continued. If the draft is not continued, there can be one of two circumstances. One, we will rationalize the threat down to a point that the number of volunteers will meet the size force required. In other words, we'll dismiss safeguarding some interests that might otherwise be protected. The other possibility is that in an effort to get the size force that will be required, that all barriers to entry into military service will be eliminated, and we'll get what I call garbage in, and when you get garbage in, usually you have garbage out.
It changes the formula from 80-20 to 100% financing at the state level. Now, this does not mean that the local districts will no longer have any responsibility for contributing to the local school district's educational programs. It simply means that this 20% of the total 100% of the school foundation program will no longer be necessary to be raised from ad valorem taxes.
This is the typical image of an American nurse, white and female. The Student Nurses of America are going to try to do something about this image. Beth Pearl is the president of the National Students Nurses Association. Beth, what do you plan to do?
We'd like to break through to nursing, break into nursing, and help minority group students break in too. This would be blacks, Spanish-speaking Indian Americans, and men, which are a very bad minority in nursing. And we'd like to bring them into nursing. Our project has existed a lot in the past because of student effort and student determination. And this year, in an attempt to expand and upgrade and just intensify the project, the National Student Nurses Association sought and received our first federal grant, a $100,000 grant from the Division of Nursing. And so we're very pleased with it and very excited about the potential. And a man that's going to be doing a lot of the implementing for us is Mr. St. Clair Clement, our new project director.
St. Clair, you meet both of the qualifications. You are black and you are a man. What do you plan to do to bring these groups into nursing?
Well, hopefully we plan to launch a national campaign to inspire and motivate minority groups and men to enter into the fields of nursing. We hope to work with the institutions as well and to solicit their effort in marketing or encouraging or selling this concept of more people entering this field.
Anybody knows that we do need more nurses, but why do we need more minority-type nurses?
Well, minority people are talented and as educated, or rather they're educable, as anyone else. And there is a shortage of this manpower in the professional field. So why not use this talent resource? Why not use this pool? Why not help increase the numbers of nurses that are needed and use this bank?
I'm sitting in the office of City Manager Roger Line. In the few weeks he's been City Manager, Mr. Line has been compiling lists of changes he wants to make in city government, and that list has partially emerged. For one thing, there is no more super chief in Fort Worth. The City Council has decided, essentially in private, to eliminate the position of Safety Director in favor of a new post of Special Assistant to the City Manager. That assistant would coordinate actions of the police and fire departments and the Civil Defense Command. The main difference in the new structure is that the Special Assistant would have considerably less power in day-to-day operations than Cato Hightower had when he was Public Safety Director. Mr. Line, why are you making this change? The new city manager will have other recommendations in the reorganization of his staff, and these, along with the elimination of the Public Safety Director, will have to be approved by the City Council. Jay Lewis, Channel 8